The other day, Nico and I were walking along Toongabbie Creek, our normal walk, one of the different paths we take. And we saw just off the track a black snake, just a couple of feet off the path, half in its hole and half not, just lying in the sun, warming itself, probably balancing its body temperature. We stopped and watched it for a bit. Beautiful colouring and just lovely to see these snakes that aren't doing any harm, but are so much a part of the bush and its ecosystems. Anyway, after a bit we moved on and we walked around and up onto a bridge which overlooked where we were. We looked down and the snake was still there. So we stopped and watched, or I did anyway, a little bit, and started moving around a little. And I watched fascinated, wondering, what is the life of a black snake on Toongabbie Creek like? What does it eat? Frogs and lizards and other small creatures, I guess. How often does it eat and where does it find them? And what are the dangers that it faces? Other predators, maybe introduced species like cats and foxes, maybe, I don't know. But certainly humans and how humans are devastating the environment and pushing back the bush. But I watched this snake with wonder, along with the lizards and the birds that came, the noisy miners that are annoying, the magpies, the cockatoos screeching, the galahs, the parrots flying through the bush, the various creatures that inhabit this bushland. But also the trees, these beautiful gum trees, and after a bit of rain, they just glow. Some are deep reddish brown, which is beautiful. Others greys and whites and other colours through it. The bottlebrush are out and jacarandas are starting to flower, and then there's also grevillea and other flowers. And through the gardens along the streets, there's all sorts of little flowers beginning to burst out in springtime. And the sun through the trees and the creek rolling by. I was filled with wonder about the world, but also the mysteries of life and being. There's so much I see, but so much I don't see or don't understand. What life is like for these little creatures and how they interact. Their importance in the world. So often I just see through my eyes and what affects me. But there's so much more to life and wonder. And I was filled with that wonder, but that sense of mystery. But also the challenges and the struggles of life in our world. You know, whether it's the natural disasters we've heard about, the cyclone or hurricane in Florida, and the damage, the majestic forces of wind and how they reach those speeds. And meteorologists and others will tell us all about it and how the wind speeds build up and the science behind it. But then there's the kind of struggles and sufferings that other people face. The things we do to each other, the violence we do through warfare or exclusion or persecution, oppression, and the domestic violence that people experience. And as I walk those streets wondering who in that house or that house or that house is struggling at this time, what life's like for them. Life and the world are a mystery. They're a challenge. Life is not easy. Life can be filled with joy and wonder and beauty, but can also be filled with pain and struggle. It's a big world, and we don't fully understand it. And that's what we get to this week in the book of Job, in the continuing story of Job, where Job finally gets his wish to come face to face with God, or to hear the voice of God. Except Job is wanting an answer to his questions. Why me? Why this suffering? Why am I suffering? What have you done? Why am I doing? What's going wrong? I guess the answers are the questions the people who wrote this story were wanting to know. Where are you in this? Why us? Why has life suddenly turned upside down? Why is this big army overwhelming us? And all of the associated questions. But Job doesn't get the answers he wants. Instead, he gets this God who is different. Who are you, little man? Were you here when I set the earth in its place? Were you here when all the things that you see and know were created, were made, were put where they were? Were you here when the water poured down into the oceans, and were you the one who controlled their flows? Are you the one who brings rain in the desert where no humans are and brings life? Or are you the one who knows the life of these animals and plants? And do you know about all these things? Have that wisdom? Do you know the mysteries of life and being? No, you don't. And I guess this speaking of God, this speech of God, is inviting Job open his mind and see that life, the world, his world, is much bigger, is much more mysterious and wondrous and struggling and difficult and challenging and joyful and everything. And that very simplistic notion that he and the people around him had of do the right thing, God will bless you and you'll be wealthy and prosperous and all the rest, and do the wrong thing, you'll be punished and cursed, doesn't hold up. God's in everything, but God is mystery and so is life. And there'll be more in the next bit of the story, but for now it's, can we accept the mystery and wonder of life? Can we accept the beauty and the joy alongside the pain and struggle? And when we come face to face with life and death and life in the world and its beauty and its wonder and the awe-inspiring vistas we see and things we understand, for me at least, it brings a sense of humility. I'm so small. And I think that's what God is saying to Job. You're so small. You can't see it all. Humble yourself. And I think that's the posture that in Mark's story of Jesus this week, where two of the disciples go to Jesus and say, look, when you come into your glory, they still don't get it. They think his death, he's going to Jerusalem rather, is to embark on this messianic expectation of a Davidic line of power and might, of the king come to take control of the nation's armies and rout the Romans and send them out, and that they'll have places of honour. Can we sit at the right and left when you come into your glory? Or maybe in this story, maybe they do get it. Maybe they understand that Jesus' way is a way of suffering. Can we share this with you? And Jesus responds to them, well, can you take this cup that I have to drink? Can you be baptised with my baptism? They say, sure we can. And he says, yes, you will be. You will drink from the cup of struggle and suffering that I've got to endure. And you'll be baptised with my baptism into this way of love and justice and hope that will cost you. But to sit at my right and left, that's not for you to be, or for me to grant. It's for one who is beyond me. And ultimately, the one who is on his right and left are two criminals. But he goes on to say, anyone that wants to be great, wants to be something, must become the least and to serve. And I came to serve. And it's this posture of humility. The true greatness is found not in being up the top and look at me, aren't I wonderful? Glory and honour and wealth and might and power, as we so often imagine and as the stories of our world inspire in us. But it's actually to be the least, it's to be the lowest, it's to let go and trust in this God and give yourself for the sake of the world. To lift up the weak and the powerless, to give a hand up and to share life with each other and to serve, because then you'll know what life is about. then you'll know what the beauty and the wonder of it is. It's to accept life in humility, that we are creatures. In us is life and death. In us is the living and the dying, the good and the bad, the joy and the pain, the beautiful and sometimes the ugly. And we are part of the life cycles of the world. To live our lives each day in wonder and joy, in the simplicity of being, to notice the birds and the trees and the animals, the sun and the moon and the stars, and to be grateful in the wonder and the joy of life, and to live alongside others, and to offer ourselves in love and service, and to find life, the life that God gives, with joy and hope and wonder.